Hello there, citizens of the internet. Welcome back. My name is Dohon, and today I'll be taking a closer look at the gameplay part of the BattleTech video game beta. Now, in the last video, I told you a bit more on how to set up a game match. But once you press the Start Game button, this is the first screen you're greeted with. As you can see right here, you see a little part of the terrain that's around here, some forests, some grasslands, some mountains. But right in front of us are the 4 stars of our little group here. Those are the 4 different BattleMechs. Now, some of you might actually recognize these mech models because they are pretty much the same as the ones made for the MechWarrior Online video game. Harebrained Schemes has partnered up with Piranha Games, and the deal allowed them to use the models created for MechWarrior Online. Right in front of you, you see the 4 mechs, ranging from our little Locust here, a 20-ton light scout mech, very fast, very fragile. Right then we have a medium mech, a Centurion, pretty capable close-range brawler with some long-range capabilities. We also have a Orion, which is a heavy battle mech with a very varied arsenal of weaponry for close range, medium range, and long range, and pretty heavily armored to boot. And finally, we have the awesome and assault class battle mech. This one is equipped with 3 long-range particle projection cannons, which are very deadly when they manage to hit the enemy at the same time. Now, I do not know what the enemy's lance is composed of, and something we'll see as soon as we start playing. Now, you may already spot it in the left upper corner here. You can see it says your turn round 1. BattleTech is a turn-based strategy game. That means you move a mech, and then the enemy does as well, and so on and so forth. The system has a lot more nuances than that. But right now, we're just in round 1, and we actually haven't made contact with the enemy just yet. Below the your turn part of the screen, you also see the objective we have for this match, which is destroy the enemy lance completely. In the full release of the game, you will be assigned other objectives when playing through the single-player campaign. In this beta, the multiplayer skirmish beta and the single-player skirmish beta, you only have one objective, which is to destroy the enemy utterly. There will be no retreat, there will be no mercy, there will just be mayhem, blood, and screeching metal. Below our little team of all-stars, you can see the portraits of our different pilots. Paradise is the pilot of the Locust mech. Kraken is a mech warrior assigned to the Centurion. The Orion is being driven by Arclight. And finally we have Ozone in the Awesome. Let's click on one of the mechs and show them a little bit close up. I've just right-clicked on my Locust here. Brings up a small summary screen showing a paper doll, which is divided in several sections. Each mech consists of a head, a center torso, a right torso with a right arm, left torso with a left arm, and 2 legs. You also have the back of the mech shown right here, with a center torso viewed from the back, left and right torso. Each mech has 2 different values that sum up its hit points. First off, you have the structural points. Structure points mean the internal structure of a mech, which consists of, for instance, a reactor, myomer muscles, and the eternal titanium skeleton. Once the internal structure is destroyed, your mech is gone. The enemy has its objective. In order to disable your mech, it has to either destroy the head completely, the center torso, or take out both legs completely. Once that happens, your mech is considered destroyed and out of the game. Now, this inner structure of a mech is defended by an outer layer of armor, shown here. The enemy has to destroy the armor first before they can damage your mechs. If you hover over one of the sections here, you can see the individual blocks that take up the inner structure and the armor of that section. If I hover over the center torso, for instance, you can see that you have 30 out of 30 internal structure points remaining and only 10 out of 10 armor points that protect it. That is not a lot of armor for a BattleMech. The Locust is very fast, but very fragile. It needs its speed to survive enemy fire, because it will not stand up to a sustained assault. You might have also noticed, as I'm hovering over the center torso, it will also show what is contained within the center torso. You see that it has a medium laser and a long-range missile ammo stocked inside the torso. As you destroy sections of the mech, whatever is contained in them will be taken out. If I destroy the right arm, which contains a long-range missile system 5, that weaponry will no longer be available for you to use and to attack the enemy with. You can blow off limbs in this game. For instance, you can shoot off a leg, one of the arms, or one of the torsos. If you destroy one of the torsos, the arm that is connected to it, if it's still functional, will also be blown apart. Mechs have armor and internal structure, but it's generally stronger in front. If you look at the center torso, we have 30 out of 30 internal structure and 10 of 10 armor. The back only has 5 out of 5 armor. So it's easier to destroy a mech when you attack it from behind and destroy the rear armor. The internal structure remains the same, so if you take out the internal structure of our center torso from the front or the back, it remains the same. It only has 30 hit points in total. Right here on the right hand side of the paper roll, you also see the entire loadout of the mech summarized. For our little Locust here, it has 2 long-range missiles 5 and 1 medium laser. A long-range missile 5 means that it fires 5 volleys of, or to be more precise, 5 missiles in one volley. Each missile is tracked independently and does damage separately. So missiles tend to cluster their damage instead of just hitting one specific section of a mech. It is possible for all of them to strike the same section, but it is unlikely. If we take a closer look at our Centurion, we can see that the loadout has changed. It now has long-range missile 10 system, meaning it fires 10 long-range missiles with 1 volley, has 2 medium lasers, and 1 autocannon 10. An autocannon is a mech-sized machine gun, and this one is a 10 caliber autocannon. Autocannons vary in size from going from autocannon 2, which means low damage but long range weapon, to an autocannon 5, autocannon 10, and an autocannon 20. The autocannon 20 being a close range, high damage machine gun. We can also see that this mech, Centurion in total, has a lot more internal structure and armor than the Locust did. Center Torso, for instance, has 80 internal structure points and 90 armor points in front and 35 armor points in the back. Once again, remember that mechs are vulnerable from the rear. Another closer look for our heavy mech, the Orion, shows that it also has even more structure points and armor than Centurion did. That's because this is a heavy class BattleMech and not a medium class BattleMech. It also has more weapons, 2 medium lasers, 1 long-range missile 15 system, a short-range missile system 4, and an autocannon 10. Long-range missiles vary from a 5 launcher to a 10 launcher, a 15 launcher, and a 20 missile launcher. Short-range missiles come in variants of 2 missiles per launcher, 4 or 6. And finally we have our assault class, the Awesome, which has a staggering amount of 150 armor points in front for the center torso and 125 internal structure points. That is a lot, and it will take quite some time to destroy it from the front. On the back it has less armor, 95 armor points for the center torso and 50 for the torsos, compared to 120 for the front torsos. So once again, shooting it from the back will destroy the mech quicker. The Awesome has 3 particle projection cannons with our long-range, high-damage energy weapons, and 1 small laser for close-range combat. Beyond that, each mech is also capable of doing a melee attack. That means that your mechs can actually punch one another, kick one another, or even if they are equipped with jump jets, they'll be able to jump on top of another mech, dealing damage. None of the mechs in my lands have a jump jets available to them, so we are stuck to the ground. For now, there are other mechs available that have jump jets, and those will probably be shown in a future video. Alright, enough talk about how our mechs look like. They look sexy, awesome, and lean and hungry. Time has come for us to move out and find the enemy. As you can see, several parts of the map have been filled with a fog of war, which means we do not know exactly what the terrain is like, and also we haven't spotted the enemy yet. You can spot an enemy either by sensor range or visual range. You will probably see a mech far sooner on a sensor than on visual range, but sensor imagery only provides limited details about a mech. As it gets closer, you'll get better data and you'll be able to see what kind of tonnage the mech has, what class it is, and once you are in visual range, you can get to see what kind of model the mech is. Now we know the enemy is around here somewhere, and the only thing we know for sure is they are situated right here. This yellow cone of light shows their starting position. We know that they will be here for the first round, and they will be making our way towards us during the following rounds. We do not know which way they'll take. They can go through here, on the left side, or on the right side. It's all possible. Now, the first round of the mech means that you'll just be moving your mechs closer towards the enemy. We haven't made contact, so it's just a matter of just clicking our mechs and edging them forward. I'm going to start with my slowest mech here, the Awesome. As you see, once I click on it, I get to see the same information that was displayed on top here, but now on the lower left it shows the paper doll, the lower right it shows the weapon loadout. Also shows the ammo per weapon, damage each weapon does per shot, and the hit percentages. Now as you move, once you select the mech and move your cursor around, you can see all these little dots appearing on the map. Each dot shows a possible location where your mech can move to during this turn. Because it's the first turn, each mech by default will go to the sprint mode. Sprinting means your mech moves the farthest possible during each turn, but by sprinting you give up the opportunity to fire on the enemy. Now this isn't a problem during the first turns because we haven't actually made contact with the enemy yet, and as soon as we do make contact, the game will switch to a different initiative system for the combat. Right now you just click whatever mech you want and you give it an order and it will move. You don't have to wait for it to finish the move. You can just keep on selecting other mechs. Before we do move, let's quickly explain different bars that have appeared above the paper doll. These two bars here are first the heat gauge and the stability gauge. As mechs fire their weapons, they tend to heat up. Laser weapons do the most heat, while autocannons provide the less amount of heat per volley. As a mech starts to build up heat, at one point it will breach this little icon here. Once this has been breached, it shows that your mech is overheating. Overheating means that each turn you end with your mech, in the overheat part, it will suffer a small amount of internal damage. If the bar is ever filled up completely, your mech is considered completely overheated and is going to shut down itself in order to make sure that none of its circuits fry. Once that happens, you need to spend an entire turn just to start the mech up again, and then in the next turn you'll be able to move and fire weaponry. On the plus side, once a mech has restarted, it has bled off all its remaining heat. But a mech that is shut down is vulnerable to the enemy and a very easy target to hit. Stability bar means how stable a mech is standing on its 2 feet. As weapons impact a mech, it's starting to shudder underneath the different impacts and lose its footage. This bar will be filled up, and as long as it stays below this middle point here, a mech will be able to regain its stability each turn. However, once it breaches the center point, right here in the middle, a mech will be considered to be unstable. The only way to get rid of the unstable modifier is by taking a special action called a brace action. Or in the worst scenario, you have to wait till it fills up completely and your mech falls over. It is considered knocked down at that point. A knockdown mech is also vulnerable, just like a shutdown mech is, to cold shots, meaning it is far easier to shoot a mech and choose a certain section of the mech to focus your fire on. Stability damage is also inflicted by doing melee damage. This is the biggest source of stability damage, right before the number 2 being long-range missiles. Missiles also do the most stability damage. Autocannons come in third, and laser weapons in general do the least amount of stability damage. Beyond the 2 bars here, you can see the status icons that a mech has. Right now, my mech is considered to be both guarded, meaning it has a 50% damage reduction against range attacks, only from the side though, not to the rear, which can be countered by melee attack. It is also considered entrenched by 50% stability damage reduction from all attacks. This is different if I pick another mech. Arcite, for instance, has no such modifiers. Sorry about that, a little tickle in my throat. The Orion has no such status modifiers because they are all standing in the open, just the same with the Centurion and the Locust. The Awesome, however, is being powered by Ozone, who has a special ability called Bulwark. As long as it stays still, it will gain the Guarded modifier, alongside with the Entrenched modifier. As soon as I move my Awesome, the modifier will disappear. Let me show you. I move forward and pick one of the green dots over here, because a green dot means that you get a little amount of cover by being in the woods. It's far harder to hit you when there are trees in your way. On the other hand, it also makes you less able to actually see the enemy. And of course, if I would end my turn and start my next turn with the Awesome in the Woods, I would get the 50% guarded bonus from my pallet ability, but it will not stack with the forest reduction, meaning I will not get 75% damage reduction, only the maximum of 50% provided by the ability. I click on the dots and then it shows my firing arcs. I can rotate them, not too far, because I'm trying to move as far as possible during my turn, meaning I have less amount of room to maneuver. Not hard to actually turn, not easy, I should say, to turn an assault BattleMech thundering at maximum speed down the slope. Now, an enemy mech has to be inside this little cone here, the triangle, in order for me to shoot it. If it is not outside the cone, it's outside the cone, I will not be able to target the enemy. The cones also show weapon ranges. This shows the range for my small laser, while the bigger part shows how far my PPCs can reach. Particle projection cannons have a long range, but they do have a minimum range as well, meaning they are far less effective when the enemy is up close to you. This makes the Awesome a very good fire support mech, and less capable close range gunnery machine. On the other hand, an Awesome also does a lot of damage in melee if they get too close. Now let's move the mech finally. Has been a very long talk, I am sorry about that. But now we can get to the meaty part of the game, being the shooting.
I'm there.
See, this game has a lot of little details, like for instance, the closer you get, the louder the sound gets of your mech, and also you can see the screen actually vibrate because of the very heavy mech thundering its way down the slope. It's less pronounced with lighter mechs, which is a nice touch, I find. Now, because I have moved my Awesome by sprinting, I also get an extra modifier. This is called evasive, which means because I run so fast and gave up my opportunity to shoot, I get a 50% chance to dodge all incoming ranged attacks. This is pretty good because that means even though the enemy might have a 95% chance to hit you, it also means that you can dodge. You still have 50% chance to dodge that incoming range attack. It is countered by an ability called Sensor Lock. Now I've moved Ozon, I'm going to move quite rapidly my other mechs in quick succession. I'm going to send my two heavy mechs up here. Send your Ryan as well. Ryan has a Master Tactician ability, which we'll explain further as we get closer to the enemy.
Standing by.
Going to move my Centurion up here. Leave the flank a bit open because I can't turn further than that.
You have orders?
And I'm gonna put my little speedy Locust as close to the enemy as possible. Now you can see here we have white dots and blue dots. Blue dots mean that your mech will move slower because you're moving through water. On the other hand, it will allow your heat sinks to bleed off heat faster than normally, meaning that you can pretty much keep on firing weapons if you stand your mech into the water. Now I'm going to move it a little bit out here and see if I notice something
Of course.
creeping up on me through the fog. As you can see, a Locust moves very far because it's a light mech and more considered to be a scout and a recon unit. Now my turn is ended because I've moved all my mechs and we've made contact with the enemy. Now we go to a new phase of the map. As soon as one of the mechs makes contact with the enemy, the battle initiative pops up. This bar shows here that there are 5 different phases to moving your mechs in the battle. The lighter a mech is, the more in front it will be of the queue of mechs that move first. Number 4 means that light class mechs move in this phase, medium mechs move in class number 3, heavy mechs in class number 2, and assault mechs move in class number 1. This also provides me with a general overview of what kind of weight class the mechs are. You can see here you have a blue chevron and a red chevron, meaning there is one light mech on my side and one light mech on the enemy side. You have 2 medium mechs here on both sides, 1 heavy mech here and 1 assault mech. That means my awesome, the biggest and baddest of my team, will be moving last, while Paradise and the Locust here will be moving first. I have to make a little side note of this, because while it shows that I have 2 medium mechs here, I only have 1 medium mech and 1 heavy mech. The Orion right here should normally move in turn number 2, but because Arclight has a special ability called Master Tactician, she gets to move in the medium class bracket. Now each mech in each bracket has to move first before the game switches to the next initiative round. That means right now only the Arclight in my Locust here and the other enemy Scout mech I haven't actually met yet get to move first. Then it goes on to my Centurion and to the enemy Shadowhawk here, which is also considered a medium BattleMech. You can always opt to say, you know what, I don't want my mechs to move in this phase right now. I can say that I want to reserve my Locust and it will only move in the next initiative round. This allows you to set up flanking maneuvers by saying that you let your Locust move later in the initiative round, while the other mechs have to move first. And then you can set up a nice back shot and shoot them from the rear, inflicting more damage. If you, for instance, manage to reserve your mech from 4 all the way back to 1, that means it moves alongside with the assault mech, and then once the next round pops about, once again the Locust gets another turn because it's considered in the level 4 initiative round. That's a lot of possibilities you have in order to strategize and outsmart your enemy. Right now, I think I'm gonna do just that. As long as you don't move your mech, it will keep its movement modifiers from last turn, because you haven't actually moved your mech or done anything with it. If I were, for instance, to stay here and just fire at the Shadowhawk, I would lose my movement modifiers and be more vulnerable to be attacked by the enemy. So I'm gonna put it right here. I'm betting that it will be hard for them to actually hit my Locust. Now you can see here that a light mech has popped up on the sensors. It first started out as a light mech, then it showed that it's a 25-ton mech, then it came into visual range, I saw it was a commando, and then it once again popped back into sensor range. That is because I do not have an actual direct line of sight on that mech. Once one of the mechs makes visual contact, I can see once more that it is a commando mech. Now having line of sight is important because it allows you for one nifty little mechanic called indirect long-range missile fire. Well, let me see if I maybe put my Orion. Yeah, if I click on my Orion, as it stands right now, if I from here, from this position, it will be able to fire its long-range missiles in an arc across obstacles to the enemy. While it has some accuracy malices, it does allow you to safely park, for instance, a long-range missile support mech behind cover, while other teammates provide sensor data. by keeping an eye on the enemy visually. There is, for instance, a heavy mech called a Catapult who has 2 long-range missiles 15 systems as its main weaponry, and if you park it on a hill safely outside visual range, yet keep one of your other mechs as a spotter, you can safely bombard the enemy from your defensive position. Now, for my position, where my Orion is standing right now, you can see that there's a red line being drawn directly to the Shadowhawk, meaning from this point right it's standing right now, it can actually see the Shadowhawk visually and fire its weaponry at Shadowhawk. If you, for instance, go for the attack, just to show you, by clicking here, we can now aim at the Shadowhawk. However, because it is at long range, our medium lasers and short-range missiles aren't able to fire on the Shadowhawk. Remember, if you move in firearms, you can see that this is the long range. The upper part is a long-range missile range. The shorter, lighter parts of the firing arcs show you where the shorter range weapons will be able to fire at the enemy effectively. Now we also see that there are 2 little chevrons, gold chevrons, emitting to the left and right side of the Shadowhawk. Those 2 show what weapons, how many weapons are able to fire at the enemy, and that shows there are 2, being the long-range missile 15 and the autocannon 10, because those are long-range weapons. From this point, however, from this point of the map right here, it shows those weapons can fire effectively. From this point, only 1 weapon, because there is a silver chevron emitting across the Shadowhawk, meaning that 1 weapon can fire at it, but less effective than it should be able to do. Now let's see if we can turn up the heat and actually shoot something. I'm going to move up my Centurion first, leave the Locust a little bit standing a little bit longer to give the evasive modifier. But I will send our Centurion up a little bit closer to the forest edge, stay in cover, and see how much weapons can actually hit it. Now you can see that the Shadowhawk has a modifier of evasive because it moved. A lot of defense, so it will not be easy to actually hit the target. But I'm going to take the risk anyway and fire only the long-range weapons. I'm going to disable these 2 here. Shows me I have a 65% chance of hit. That isn't a lot, and it do keep in mind that the evasive does allow the enemy to dodge about 50%. With a 50% chance, all the weapon attacks you inflict on them. So let's see. So only about 3 missiles actually hit, doing some damage and hitting the cockpit. Hitting the cockpit gives damage to the enemy. Oh well, sorry to fall silent there, because I was pretty much surprised that Shadowhawk was able to inflict so much damage on my Locust, despite it having the evasive modifier.
Yes, Commander.
That was a pretty good barrage, and it took out almost the entire center section, and I lost my left arm. This means I have to get my Locust out of dodge, keep it moving, and away from the enemy Shadowhawk. I'm going to move out of the way to the right, open up the range and make them forced to either chase the Locust or my other mechs. But I am going to keep it in my firing arcs and shoot with the weapons I have remaining, a medium laser and a long-range missile. I lost the other long-range missile because of the damage the Shadowhawk inflicted. As you can see, I have a very low hit chance with long-range missiles because I am inside the minimum range. Long-range missiles need some time to actually arm themselves before they can inflict damage, meaning a short range basically gives them less time to be effective and do explosive damage to the enemy.
Target acquired and locked in.
Tried my missiles, which didn't do a lot of damage, but my medium lasers did inflict the maximum amount of damage. Now my Centurion is being attacked by a medium mech firing a long-range particle projection cannon, that was the blue lightning bolt you saw flashing by, and a missile barrage. This leads me to suspect the enemy is a Griffin BattleMech, and it's actually visible on the sensor right here, but I cannot be sure until I actually see it. Now I have moved all my other medium mechs except my heavy mech, which is considered to be a medium mech because of the ability Arclight has. So I'm going to move her up and have a go at the enemy Shadowhawk. Some revenge for the damage it did to my poor little Locust. Going to take aim. Can only fire with my long range weapons, being a long range missile 15 and autocannon, and we'll see how much damage we can do. Oh, that was a pretty non-direct hit. And the missiles also inflicted damage. Now you can see that the Shadowhawk is now considered to be unsteady because of the damage I did with my long-range missiles and my ballistic weapons.
That's all you got?
So that was a heavy mech that fired at me with long-range missiles. Do not know exactly which one it will be. 60 tons might be a quick draw, might be not. And now it comes for the biggest of them all, our Awesome, to take a shot at the enemy. It can't fire at Shadowhawk from here because the red line you see here goes bright red from the radiating out from the Awesome, and then 1 point becomes a dark red and a smaller line, meaning that it has an interrupted line of sight and is not able to shoot directly at the Shadowhawk. It will hit the mountain instead. So I have to move the mech forward. I'm going to do this quite aggressively because I would prefer to have my Awesome standing in the water at one point. It will allow itself to fire the mainly energy weapons far more often than it would from land, because the heat sinks are far more effective in the water. So I'm going to move up the Awesome.
Copy that, Commander.
And then see how much damage I can do at the Shadowhawk without overheating. You see, by selecting all 3 particle projection cannons, I will pretty much boost the heat gauge to about in the middle. However, the overheating penalty is far more to the edge of the bar. It is because Ozone because of its statistics, is far more able to stand the heat than other pilots are. So I'm going to fire with everything I have right now. 75% hit chance, 50% damage, 50 damage. Of course, there is a 25% damage reduction because it is situated in the woods. And it has moved a little bit, so we'll see how effective our attacks are. Oh, and all 3 hits, doing a lot of damage and melting a little bit of armor on the Shadowhawk. Now that little mech is a commando, and it has put quite some damage on our Centurion. Commando is equipped with short-range missiles and a small medium laser. It has put some damage. It has reduced my center torso armor to about 50% of my original value, but the main damage it's caused right now, it's made my mech unsteady. Now remember, once the bar reaches the center, you're considered to be unsteady, and you will not lose this bar by just waiting out the next turns. The only way I can reduce it right now is by taking a brace action, which will end my turn. Now I cannot move my Centurion right now because it's in the light mech initiative round. I have to move my Locust first. So let's see what we can do. We can either I will probably move my mech a little bit further back and take aim at Shadowhawk. Its long-range missiles will give it more stability damage and maybe even force it to fall down. which will make it an easy target for me. I'm going to fire all my weapons I have available at the Shadowhawk. Maybe it will do enough damage to knock it out. Only 2 missiles actually hit the mech, and it still not has a filled stability bar, and so it will not fall over.
I'm taking heavy hits, Commander.
The Centurion is also pretty much close to falling over because of stability damage.
Commander.
Glad I decided to risk it and perhaps fall over soon, or I can just brace myself for the damage, make myself more better to receive the damage, and less likely to fall over by taking a brace action. I think I will risk it. And move my mech closer to the Shadowhawk, but outside the visual range of the commando, so it will have to move to actually hit me. It will leave me pretty much open to the back if the commando decides to do a flank maneuver. But I feel that I cannot pass up the damage I will be doing on the Shadowhawk by doing this move. Now, something else I want to draw your attention to. Each mech has a little circle indicating which side of the mech you will be engaging. Right now, because I'm standing on the left side of Shadowhawk, this little left side icon is lit up. You can see this is the front, the back, right and left. All them attacks I do right now will hit the left side. It's also indicated here by this red outline, showing that attacks will hit either the left hand side on front or the left hand side on the back. It is possible. We'll see what we hit.
Confirmed. Fire.
Oh, that took an arm and it went flying. That's a pretty good hit. And there is the Griffin, as I thought. Yeah, put some more rockets on me. Still hasn't breached the armor, but I'm still more liable to fall on my face. So now I'm gonna move up my Orion and I'm gonna put it in the water. It will make itself vulnerable to all 3 mechs and be focus fired, but it has a lot of armor and can take it. However, I want to take the water and use it to fire all my weapons I have available to the Shadowhawk and do damage and maybe knock it down. See, I already have a little bit of heat standing here right here because of the previous round. It will add more heat to it, but not a whole lot when compared I would be firing everything, which is called an alpha strike, when standing on land. So I'm just gonna fire everything, even the long range missiles, for sure, 90% hit chance. The other weapons are far less liable to hit, but I'm feeling lucky. That's going to be the mark.
Scored a critical hit.
And I have finally forced Shadowhawk to fall over because of the stability damage. Once again, the pilot's injured because he took a pretty good beating when falling over. Each pilot only has a limited amount of hit points they can lose by taking hits before the pilot dies. I believe it's about 5, but I'm not entirely sure about that. Okay, time for the Austin to move up. Gonna stay right here and see if I can fire a few PPCs at the downed Shadowhawk. 75% hit chance, but once I click on Shadowhawk to fire my weapons, it shows you the called shot menu. This appears when a mech is prone, either by knockdown, or if a mech is shut down, meaning it's also standing still and it can't move until it has restarted. I can either choose to shoot at the torso, or destroy one of the other right torsos and take off the weaponry here. I'm going to choose for the center torso. Still quite heavily armored, and I hope 3 target PPC shots will put quite a dent into it and leave it open for more attack by other mechs.
Acknowledged, Commander.
I'm pushing my heat right here.
That hit something good.
I've done quite some damage, but it's still there, still not out. Now let's see what the little commando does. It will probably flank my Orion and shoot me in the back. Oh no, it will fire on the left hand side. Done not quite a lot of damage. It isn't out yet, my Orion. It's pretty much close to being knocked down, but still standing there. It is not possible to knock down a mech in by one mech attacking another mech. You will need 2 mechs and with their attacks in order to knock them down, because you saw the bar reaching all the way to the right. But let's now come back to the center, because rolling right now it's considered to be unsteady. If another long-range missile mech fires missiles at me, the Orion will fall over. Or if a mech punches me, well, that's also a very bad thing to be faced with. Time for Paradise to earn its pay once more. I think I'm gonna make him move once again to the forest, aim a Shadowhawk and put some more hurt on him. Payback for the arm he lost. Maybe it will be enough to take him out, I'm not entirely sure. We'll see.
Firing.
Yeah, it was enough. And there goes Shadowhawk, and first blood goes to my team. Very well done, team. Very well done. Oh, that's gonna leave a mark on my Orion. He's not going to fall over just yet.
Standing by.
But right now I'm going to show you something cool, because you do want to see how a mech punches another mech, don't you? Well, here we go. It will do 95 damage and put a lot of stability damage on the commando. It's not the most optimal move to do right now, but it is cool. So let me show you. Oh, tackled the commando and took out its right arm and right torso and made it unsteady. He's going to remember that. Now I think I'm going to capitalize on that by moving my Centurion in the water and give it another good volley. I'm going to fire everything because I'm standing in the water. Doesn't give me a lot of heat to manage. So I'm just gonna fire everything and see how lucky I get.
All weapons, go.
And there we go, took it out in a double tag team. There goes one little scout mech. Now it's 2-on-4. Keep in mind, it's still not over, gentlemen. The enemy still has a heavy mech and an assault mech standing right there.
Stability lost.
And finally,
I'm going down.
my Orion is taking the punch. It knocked down.
I'm hit.
It means I have to spend another turn standing up. Luckily for me, the enemy only has another medium mech, meaning only the Griffin will be able to damage it, not the enemy heavy mech.
Yup.
So what I'm going to do right now,
You got it.
I want to check if it was able to fire on the Griffin. Not entirely sure right now I'm able to do that. Yeah, that was a very dumb move of me. Can't actually target anything, so that was very dumb. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to do that. So I'm gonna do the only thing possible. I'm going to brace myself. It will bleed off all my extra heat, which is good, but I rather would have a full volley of PPCs smacking to the Griffin. Now, another little thing here rears his head. You can see there's a morale bar on the left hand side. As you do damage during a fight, this bar will fill. Once it's filled completely, you can choose to inspire one of your pilots. Once you inspire a pilot, that means you give him the opportunity to fire his weapons, as long as they're not in minimum range, fire all his weapons at 95% hit chances, while also ignoring the cover and evasive modifiers. So if you really want to shoot the enemy and really hit with everything you've got, you inspire a pilot. Now this inspiring bar keeps rising faster and faster as it's used. So don't let it hang in here for too long. Better to use it as soon as you can and you see an opening. The bar will fill up faster for next time.
Yes, Commander.
Now for next time, however, I'm going to once again move my Locust. It will only be able to fire its long-range missiles, that's okay.
As you wish.
Just want to put some hurt on the little Griffin. As long as I keep it moving in the back, it will not be able to receive fire from the other mechs. Or at least not as efficient. Well, I can even fire my medium laser long-range missiles, so fire everything I say. Ooh, right in the noggin. Yeah, hit, that's for sure. Melt off a bit of armor there. Oh, what's the Griffin going to do? And he's going to... Oh, he's going to punch me. Oh, that's gonna leave a mark. My right torso is pretty much gone, so I'm in danger of losing my arm. And I got knocked down because I was already being unstable.
Commander, I'm hit.
Now, I am going to stand up Centurion. And I'm going to give him a little piece of his own medicine.
Stability regained, Commander.
Even better, he has shown me his backside, so I'm going to unload my weapons in his backside. Tempted to punch him, but I will do more damage if I fire all my weaponry in his back. And we're going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to inspire Kraken. It means all his weaponry except the missile system, because that's in its minimum range. Everything else is guaranteed to hit. So this is gonna be fun. Oh, took out his right arm, right torso, and destroyed the arm just by firing on the back. And his back is pretty injured as well, so he's not doing well. I'm gonna get up Orion from her nice comfy sitting position.
Okay, ready for action.
And I think I'm gonna move her a little bit closer so she has a shot on the other unknown mech that's hiding from the back and firing at my people. There we go.
Position confirmed.
Don't have really good odds to shoot at this quick draw heavy mech. Nice varied arsenal of weapons, but not very heavily armored. Or I can decide to shoot at the Griffin with an eye direct art. I don't see him because there's another one of my mechs is blocking a direct line of sight. But firing my long-range missiles will only have a 25% chance of hitting. So, yeah, I think I'm going to fire everything I have in a quick draw. Maybe I should have taken the inspiration bar and the bonus provided by being inspired, but you win some, you lose some, and I'm going to fire everything. Alpha strike away. Done some damage. He's going to feel that. Ooh, that's damaged my left leg. I made it unstable as well. But now comes time for the big man to earn his money. Now, I have a hard choice to make. Either I move about and fire 3 PPCs in a quick draw, damaging it further, or I punch the Griffin in the back, taking it out. I think I'm going to do that. Seems more cool, doesn't it? Now, as you notice, once I go to melee, it will see On the right hand side, you'll see it will do a melee attack, but also fire my small lasers. In BattleTech, small weapons like machine gun, small laser, or a flamer will also be fired if you do a melee attack. So let's see. I will hit him in the back. This way. Yeah, this is going to leave a mark. 75% chance to hit him though, but I'm feeling lucky.
10-4. I'm on him.
Oh, yep, he's done.
Tango is trash, Skipper.
There he goes. Down and out. Man, this looks so gratifying. And now we only have 4 mechs against 1. I almost feel bad for the enemy. Almost. Not really. So, I'm going to move here. Put some
Of course.
small long range fires on the quick draw. I'm not going to move it closer in because it will just needs a little cuff on my locus and it's gone. But you know, some long range missiles with like bee stings. Alright, there we go. Now I'm going to move my Centurion closer and I'm going to brace it so it doesn't get knocked down by the missile fires. That the quick draw is sure or liable to fire at my mech. While I'll brace it, I'm also being more covered than the force would be able to do. Arclight on the other hand, well, let me see the hit chances. Oh, they're pretty good actually. Yeah, I'm just gonna stand here and fire everything.
Copy that.
Yes, that seems very impressive. Hit the cockpit, damage the arm, and made it unsteady. He fires back with all his missiles, making my Orion unsteady.
Oh, they don't like me at all.
And now comes the time for the big boy to come closer and fire his
I'm rolling.
long-range weaponry from the waters, meaning less heat and more chance to fire a barrage. Have fun! Yeah, he felt that.
Yes, Commander.
Paradise can move once more. Do I risk it? Do I risk it? Yeah, why not? Let's do something wild. And crazy. I am plenty of crazy. Trust me, people, I am plenty of crazy. I am targeting its front though. Trying to grind him down. Not the most effective way to kill him. Might be able to flank the Locust on his side if I decide to sprint on him and go around here, but I want to see more weapons hit him. Okay, we're going to move closer. Maybe see if we can do a punch with the Orion. Being risky because I'm quite unstable, but I hope I'm able to knock him on his feet. Yeah, overheat warning. Yeah, let's not overheat. Just gonna put out the long-range missiles, but fire everything else.
I'm on it.
Oh, missed that. Yeah, pretty close to being knocked on its ass. Let's see. I don't want to do multi-targeting. Doesn't help with only having one target. If I stay here, or do I try a fancy flanking? Yeah, let's do that. Let's try some fancy flanking maneuvers.
On my way.
And as they say, fire everything.
Confirm.
Do I knock it out? No, don't quite knock it out. He's going to probably knock out my Orion though. No, not completely. I think the quick draw is suffering from a lot of heat, as you can see here. Red bar's pretty close to the maximum level. Doesn't want to risk it getting taken out. That's okay. My Asa will just give it a good kiss. Yeah, don't want to be that quick draw pilot.
Reporting.
So I'm going to move here and add a little bit of extra long-range missile fires. Make it even more unstable. Okay, indirect fire, 70% chance, that's pretty good.
Firing.
And done some damage. Alrighty.
Commander.
Oh, let's be very fancy. 75%, 75 damage, but I say 10. Yeah, I'm gonna go for a little back shot here.
Roger.
I'm gonna disable the long-range missiles now, but fire everything else.
Firing.
Oh yeah, you felt that. And now for the Orion.
Aye, aye.
Yeah, I'm going to punch him. Just for shits and giggles. Oh, no. Should have punched him instead of just clicking on the move. Oh well, I'll fire everything that I have. Yeah, let's take the overheat.
Acknowledged.
Still standing. Yeah, you see, overheat damage. Every internal structure takes 1 point of damage because I pushed the heat curve a little bit too hard. And the Quiro moved and decided to take away the stability by a brace action. That's pretty smart thinking there. But I'm just gonna fire at everything with the PPCs. One firing. Oh, took out the left arm, right torso, right arm, jump jets. Yeah, because the control has jump jets. Took out some of them though. Okay. Move out here. Keep on flanking him. Yeah, the quick draw, he's pretty much toast. Might take out one of my mechs though. It is possible.
That's a critical hit.
Okay. Now it's time for the Centurion to do a little back punch. There we go.
Acknowledged.
Tackle to the back. Yep. There we go. One less quick draw. Well, that went pretty well, considering they didn't have an assault mech and I did. So, yeah. I got lucky with not losing my locusts because of the good volley that Shadowhawk did. But I'm pretty much in good damage. Austin didn't lose a lot of armor, I believe. The Orion did, Centurion did, with some internal damage on the leg, and the Locust on the center torso, and also losing its arm. Now in the single player campaign, because you're running a mercenary unit, and in the end you have to be conservative with your resources, you will probably want to make sure that your mech doesn't lose a lot of internal structure, because that's more expensive to repair than armor plates. But that's for the full game, not the backer beta. Yeah, and the enemy force, they're pretty much toast. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of my second video. Once I press the continue button, there will be a pop-up asking me to fill out the survey, which I will do. Now, I will see you all later for a new video, seeing me stomping the enemy or getting stomped by the AI. It is possible and it has happened. Well, let's rephrase that. There also will be more videos coming out later on different aspects of BattleTech, lore, the setting, and the different battle mechs themselves and the pilots. So you have something to look forward to. I thank you all very much for seeing this how to play BattleTech video. Hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more.